AI in general, you cannot afford to be late. Make sure that you find the spot where you know exactly how you are going to activate the potential of AI. Precisely where human beings, interactions with clients, the sort of non-algo features of the organizations like trust, etc., can be best leveraged to do it in a calm way. It has more impact on asset managers, on market participants, on investors, on corporates, than it has on people who operate the trading engine, where we have to be precisely correct, not roughly correct.
How is Euronext navigating the complexities introduced by Brexit?
Brexit was a very significant clarification. In the old good days, London used to be the largest financial center of the European Union. Because of Brexit, London is now the largest financial center of the United Kingdom. Today, the aggregate market capitalizations of companies listed on Euronext markets in the single liquidity pool, the single order book, the single technology platform of Euronext, all that is about 6.7 trillion euro. Anything between twice and 2.5 times the size of the aggregate market capitalizations of companies listed in London. The volumes traded every day on Euronext are between 9 and 10 billion euro. It's again more or less twice to 3 times the size of the volumes traded on the equity markets in London. So the reality is that today 25% of the shares traded in Europe are traded on Euronext. And that is a single market. You have 7 entry doors, but fundamentally it's the same backbone. It's the same technology platform, the same liquidity pool. So for me, for us, Brexit has been a moment of clarification.
How is Euronext adapting its products and services to cater to the growing trend around ESG disclosures?
Well, ESG has been a big trend for the past 2 years now. There was a time when a company had to be ESG compliant to diversify its investor base. And now you have to develop ESG initiatives to keep your investors. For Euronext, we are doing 2 things. As a listed company, we need to be best in class in terms of carbon footprint reduction, in terms of our own impact, and that is a significant part of our plans and of our hard work. And we do it with fundamental changes in the way we operate. You know, when I travel from Paris to Milan, I take the train now. It's a 7 hours train. I burn 1 kilo of carbon versus the possibility to take the plane where I burn 100 kilos of carbon. And that's a significant difference. The other thing is to contribute to making companies that are best in class in ESG more visible. In other words, to develop products. So we have created, for example, a portal called My ESG Profile, where companies in a standardized form can make more visible to investors what are their achievements in ESG-related initiatives. So for us, it's both changing the way we operate as a corporate and developing definitely a new suite of complete products in green bonds, in indices, in corporate services for companies that are trying to maximize their impact.
How does Euronext assess and mitigate the impacts of global economic and political uncertainty?
We are at the core of the European economy, and most of the companies listed on Euronext and most of the international investors' appetite for European listed instruments is driven or is impacted by geopolitical factors. I would just add 1 or 2 caveats. Number one, everyone appreciates that one of the most surprising developments over the past 5 years, despite COVID, despite slowdown in China, despite energy crisis, despite inflation, despite the increase of interest rates, the indices are much higher than what they were before all that. So there is a sort of paradox where it seems that markets factor in more the level of interest rates, i.e. the rise of interest rates for the past 2.5 years and the recent stabilization for the past 6 months, more for equity pricing than all the factors you had in mind in your question. So that's the first mitigant or caveat. That being said, the way we see the world in Europe is different from the way you see the world in the US, because we have in Europe a war in Ukraine, which is 2 hours flight from where I have my office. And we are in a situation where even the most peaceful country like Sweden, which was neutral for the past 200 years, has decided to join NATO and is joining NATO actually this very morning. There will be a development that we tend to underestimate, which is sooner or later financial markets in Europe will have to be activated to finance defense and war efforts. The times of victory bonds will be back. The time of national defense bonds will be back. Times of, it will be probably called European defense bonds, but capital markets will have to be activated to finance the significant efforts that Europeans will have to do for defense, and which was not predictable a few years ago.
How is Euronext prioritizing cybersecurity to protect its trading platforms, market data, and sensitive information?
Like any infrastructure, robustness, reliability of the infrastructure itself, of the core of what we produce, is key in the eyes of our shareholders, our supervisors, and the management team, obviously. So we have a very large team of engineers and smart IT and algo guys working both ways to penetrate the defense of Euronext and to build the wall and to raise the wall. And we do that also with the support of external providers who do pen testing very often. And as always, successful cybersecurity defense is all about a combination of technology and culture. Because in most cases, cybersecurity issues, incident, crisis happen sometimes when the door is not armored enough or the wall is not high enough, but very often when people forget the key on the door. And making sure that not only you have a armored door and a high wall, but also that not a single person in your team is tempted to forget the key on the door is super critical. So it's a combination of IT investment and management culture of security.
How does Euronext address the competition from alternative trading venues such as multilateral trading facilities, MTFs?
Best execution, i.e. quality of pricing, is extremely important to clients. And the cost of transaction is just one component of the total cost of trading. Now, sometimes, in particular for retail investors, there is always the temptation to fall in the trap of, the foreign exchange desk at the airport with a big sign, no commission. We just buy for 100 and we sell for 150, but no commission. So that's the misleading part of many alternative platforms. We have a totally different approach of the world, and that's why I think our best competitive advantage is the quality of the order book, the quality of the volumes, the quality of the liquidity pool. That being said, we have decided to move into the dark pool business. So we are creating a dark pool initiative that will be live in a few weeks, and that will fundamentally help investors to benefit from the perceived benefits of the dark pools associated or linked to a lead venue. We are also going to be much more, I wouldn't say aggressive, but much more specific or focused in demonstrating the whole cost of trading. It is related to trading on some of our competitors' venues, which have a different value extraction model. What you are referring to, the cash equity trading business, represents now only 18% of the top line of the group. When I joined, it was 60%. It's now 18%. The group, Euronext, is much more diversified than it has ever been, not only on trading, because we have a very dynamic fixed income trading business with MTS on govies. We have a very dynamic electricity trading business with Nord Pool in Europe. We have a very dynamic milling wheat markets, which does in Europe what CME does in the US. So we have non-equity trading businesses, but one thing is more important than that is that 60% of the top line of Euronext now comes from businesses that have nothing to do with volumes.